Welcome all to this session for the Global AI Bootcamp España. And I'm very glad to be here. And I want to thank you, all the organizer, to invite me and accept my session for this event. Who I am, you can read there. I also post my contact also at the end, so I think is a good opportunity to start the session as soon as possible. First of all, I want to thank you all the sponsors that permitted to have these events that give us the possibility to have some prize, but we can talk about later. Let's start. What we are going to talk about? We will talk about AI, but not only AI in a general point of view, but on what AI means for the actual scenarios that we are seeing around. First of all, AI is something that is seamlessly everywhere, as you can see. But most of the scenarios that we normally use or evaluate or manage, or we also already implemented, usually need to have a lot of power that is deployed usually in big servers, in big data center, and very often in the cloud. For this reason, one point that is actually growing in the interest on the market is the possibility to push AI out of the data center, the big data center, or from the public cloud, and push it on the edge. When I say edge, what does it mean? Does it mean that I put the AI, so the algorithm, the intelligence of what I'm going to infer as an AI or a machine learning process, not on a big server, but on the edge, on directly where I get that information. The edge in general is something that is, as I said, the word not related to a data center or a back office, a well-defined back office. The edge could be a server that we can deploy on the field, around in a city, in an industry implant, but usually is not necessary as a big server. In many cases, could be also some not so big CPU with the aim of some neural network on some MCU, or some GPU that is put inside, that has inputted inside this kind of hardware, just to run specific algorithm. Okay, I don't want to bother you much more. On this slide, you can read some of the main points that usually we can read in the general communication by the number of AI. Okay, what I want to leverage here is that the point to put the AI not in the far distant cloud or data center, but put it on the edge, is the main point is that we can reduce essentially the latency of our elaboration. We can reduce a lot the cost, because usually when we have to transport a huge amount of data, huge amount of information, we have to provide strong connection that usually has important or a high level of cost. Obviously, another point, not less important, is the security, and in many cases the compliance. What does it mean? The security is related to this. If I don't need to transport data around on a long trip to the cloud, I don't need to have operation like encoding or having to transform my data before transmitting it. Another point is, if my data are something that cannot be exported, for example, outside of I don't know, a specific country, a specific geographical area, that could be important that data remain exactly there. I don't think about some specific or sensible data, but if you think about, for example, of health devices or, I don't know, video or photo, a picture of a person, could be something that is a bit sensible, and in many cases is not the case to transport that outside, or in some case the compliance stay also in, because you cannot export some kind of data because for legislation you cannot do it. And obviously, last but not least, a good reason is to innovate. That is not a bad thing every time. But if you are looking of what is the actual investment in the market, to be clear, here you see some specific reference to Azure names. So obviously these are three products that is referring to the Azure platform. But consider that this kind of approach is common to all the cloud provider that is working in this ecosystem. But to be much more exact, what we have, the edge that is going to get the market from the last year to the next 3 to 4 years is this. We see three specific product here that are Azure HCI, Azure Edge Zone, and Azure Percept, that is referred more or less to the same scenario, that is the edge as Microsoft is seeing it, but in three different ways of doing it. The first one, Azure HCI, is essentially the way we can deploy the power of the cloud that usually we use in our data center, but grab some of these services and deploy it as blocks, usually container kind of things inside some hardware that you can deploy inside your local data center or your application place or in your retail store or wherever you are doing your business. The center point, the Azure Edge Zone, is something a bit bigger because it's something related not only to grabbing edge on the edge some of the services that usually are available in the cloud, but it fitted with a specific network connection that usually has been done by some telco provider or in some cases by some specific provider that can offer you the possibility to connect and use those services also where normally a broadband access to the network is not present. That it's also another big problem that the edge try to solve. In this case, you can think about, for example, I don't know, remote implant that are not reached by broadband access or remote inside, I don't know, inside in the middle of the sea or in the middle of the desert. A desert, not desert. Sorry. And this kind of solution has been, to be honest, been presented by Microsoft at last MWC in Barcelona, not more than 2 or 3 weeks ago, and provide you the possibility to deploy your network wherever you want and wherever also you don't have any other kind of access, fiber, cable, whatever. The third pillar for the edge, for the proposal of the edge, is Azure Percept. That is the object of this session. Azure Percept, as we will see better in the next part of the session, is not only hardware, but is also software, and mainly software services that we can use to place your AI, your machine learning, your intelligence on the edge in an easy way. So let's go. These are some of the use cases that Microsoft is thinking about on what we or where we are trying to apply for these scenarios. Let me go a bit in deep. For example, if you think about something related for the retail or the safety, is something that it fit very well, if you think, because having some application that could help you to replenish your stock in a retail, or having some safety function, like not only surveillance but also analyze if someone is grabbing some items from your store and you don't see it. Solution like pick up and automatically pay, like in very common Go store in US, or having solution, for example, for safety or checking in the last year now, during the COVID, some application like see if person that is passing through a zone are wearing a mask, or if they are in a queue, if they respect the social distancing, for example. All these kind of application can be very easily feasible, could be feasible very easy with a solution like Azure Percept. Okay, let's arrive now to what Azure Percept is. Azure Percept is something that has been built with the point in mind. Give the opportunity to the final customer to build his own AI solution without the need of an external development. Okay, that is very important. As you can see here, what Azure, the Azure Percept Dev Kit is obviously something related to an hardware composed by, in this case, 3 different devices. One is this one is the trust module, that is essentially a small PC, an industrial PC, okay, based on an ARM CPU. We have the Azure Percept audio, that is an audio array where you can not only grab audio with the stereo image, but also analyze the audio that is running directly on the board. The Azure Percept Vision is again another module that is composed obviously by 1 or 2 camera and an Intel Movidius neural network module directly inside the hardware that permit to solve some common problem to vision and send directly the result of the AI analysis directly to the Percept Trust model that will be also add some other management or elaboration, and in case could send the information to the cloud or store it wherever you want to store some information. Another part of Azure Percept, because I say that are different modules. One is the hardware, one is the main software that is deployed on Azure, on the big cloud, is Azure Percept Studio. Azure Percept Studio is an Azure service, okay, where you can, by your own, not only manage your Azure Percept devices, okay, you can have the control of all your Azure Percept devices that you probably could deploy on the field, but you can also produce, define, invent, and I can say develop your own AI images and the inferencing algorithm. But you don't need, at least you can, but it's not needed to know anything about Python or wherever language that is normally used for this kind of problem. You can define and create your inference image without any line of code, okay? What Azure Percept can do out of the box. Here you see what what is happening from the web stream that is coming from the camera of the device, that is automatically out of the box, as I said, when you grab the dev kit without adding anything, it automatically recognizes objects. And the objects are common objects, like in this case, a plant, a mouse, a laptop, a chair. You don't need to do anything in this case. But yes, obviously, it's something very general. If you want to specialize or you want to add some more intelligence because you want to address some specific problem, because you want to recognize specific object, or between some similar object you want to distinct if someone is different to another, or if you are producing some item, you want to distinct if one item is wrongly produced instead of well produced in your line of production. And you can do it in which way you will after I will show you in a very small demo, but you will use your Azure Percept Studio just to learn and try to skill a new intelligence, a new image, a new inference image with your specific object, and you will tag what is good, what is not, what is the name, what is the description of some specific items, and all this intelligence will be compiled inside an inference image that will be later deployed in your device. Okay, here there is a very high level architecture of Azure Percept. What I want to raise in this case is that inside the module that is on the edge, is the rectangle below, is some predefined module, that is the AI, one of more or more AI model, the Azure Percept module, and the Azure Defender agent, because obviously Azure Percept as an edge device need to be protected also by external attack. Inside and below all these modules, you find Azure IoT Edge. What is Azure IoT Edge? Azure IoT Edge is a runtime that Microsoft developed that could manage and run containerized application that could coexist considering different operating system and also different application. In the case of Azure Percept, the one I show, the hardware I showed you before, the operating system that is deployed on the lowest level is OS, the Linux distribution. The name is OS Mariner. Mariner is a Linux distribution that Microsoft built from ground up, not ground up completely, obviously is a distribution, a pre-distribution of Linux that is has been personalized for this specific application, and is managed and maintained by Microsoft directly. Obviously is open source and is available on GitHub. On the higher level of the architecture, you see the block, this block that is obviously the cloud, Azure, where you have essentially IoT Hub, that is the point of the portal where the device, all the external device is connecting to Azure. with Azure IoT Hub, you can not only enter inside Azure, you can register new devices, you can also show if your device is authorized or not. You can also in return update your devices, for example, sending new images, sending new version of the operating system, or control it, because you can turn on, turn off, or do some action on your remote device directly from the cloud. What other you find on the cloud is a complete marketplace, and the marketplace is not only for Percept, is a general marketplace of Azure, but specifically Microsoft think about to offer a marketplace for the Azure Percept modules, because if you for your own develop your intelligence for some specific solution, you can also grab that image and sell it on the marketplace, because someone else could be interested in having that kind of intelligence and could buy it from you, and you can offer it on the marketplace. Oh, sorry. Other points are the usual module that we use in the IoT ecosystem, that is IoT Central, for example, and also Azure ML. Azure ML is one of the components that is at the base of Azure Percept Studio on Azure. Okay, I more or less described this, but what I want to leverage here is that Azure Percept, as I described, born as a developer kit, a solution of services on the cloud, but the intelligence and the software that actually is deployed inside the developer kit will be available also not only on the developer kit, but also on biggest hardware. In this case, on the general IoT Edge platform, the one I show at the beginning, for example, Azure HCI and the 5G Edge platform. Why that? Because essentially these modules are software, are containerized application that can be deployed in edge devices, and for this reason, the application of Azure Percept can be applied also on different hardware. In this case, and in some cases, also much powerful from our developer kit. And this means that we could apply the same exactly images and application that we develop with the developer kit on biggest hardware still on the edge that could leverage a more complex problem, or solve that in a shorter time, for example. Okay, some scenario that is already deployed. I don't want to bother you with some specifics, but these are all samples that is already deployed on the field or in some proof of concept that is already running, just to understand if that could solve some specific problem. We have the smart city application just to count the vehicles, verify if that vehicles are authorized or not to pass on that in that area, and also social distancing, something like that. or the surveillance or understanding where there are some kind of movement of vehicles, or in the case of the build the aircraft part checker, that is something that could solve a problem of defect that can be mounted, for example, on an aircraft. That is something that we all don't want to have. That is mainly a solution of predictive maintenance. This application is something related to the retail. In this case, you see that the bananas are grabbed and replaced inside the shelf, and automatically the system recognizes where the bananas are present or not. In this case, could be helpful just to replenish the shelf and understand when we don't have still don't have bananas in our stock. It's a very easy and probably let me say not so how can say, not so much feasible okay, feasible problem, but it give you an idea, a great idea of what you can do with it. Okay, another one is an example from a person that emit that count or see where a bird is going to grab some food, and understand when a specific bird is going to grab the food. Okay, okay, I already talked about these. Let me go a bit in detail later on this. Okay, yeah, again, this I already show you. More or less, what are the main pillar, the main point of Azure Percept? What permit you this platform to do? Obviously, decrease the time you need to develop this kind of application, because you don't need to get a developer or a data scientist, or you don't need usually to have a team that will build your algorithm or compile your inference image, because you can create it by your own, and in this case help you to ship your application in a short time, and that obviously reduce the complexity, the general complexity. Also, in case you want to personalize and change again your model during the use, because you understand that what you learn, what you have deployed in your image is not completely correct. You can also update it without the intervention of something other. You can do it by yourself. Okay, how it work? It worked that Microsoft offered this platform not only as a developer kit, but it offered as an open project to device builder. In this case, the device builder can create their own hardware for solving specific problems, and certify it for the platform Microsoft Azure Percept. There are already some distributor that is already selling the the device, but there is also another big ecosystem of partner that is actually going to build devices dedicated to specific topic. Some of that I already described in my examples. Okay, let's see some roadmap. So where we are going to do, because what I have shown to you, so the Azure Percept Dev Kit is already available. Some IoT certified device for Azure Percept are already available, not yet certified. More or less what they contain, all of them, is these architecture, the IoT Edge, and over the AI models, the Percept and Defender agent. Another point that is another good application, and as I said, deployment that we will have is on Azure Stack HCI. That is an hardware that usually is provided not by Microsoft, but on an hardware partner, like, I don't know, Lenovo, HP, Dell, whatever. In this case, you can deploy Azure Percept on that and use it at your own, but also with other application and modules that you can also deploy on Azure Stack HCI, because it is more or less an hardware that could leverage many different kind of ecosystem. The last one, the Azure Stack Edge, is something a bit different. It is still an hardware, but we are talking about an hardware that is Microsoft managed, is not coming from an hardware partner, like I said before, but is completely managed by Microsoft, and where you can deploy and see that appliance completely as a blade inside the Azure portal. So you don't have any physical access to the hardware, but you manage it completely as an appliance in Azure. Okay, this is the situation. The part of the developer kit is already available. The part on HCI is more or less on GA. We shown it at MWC. Honestly, we are releasing it in this month. Here you can find, I don't want to repeat it, you can find some of the specifics for the hardware that you need to deploy your workload on Azure Stack HCI. These are some of the hardware that is already available on the market, on our catalog for managing Azure Stack HCI. And okay, this is more in detail the architecture on Azure Stack HCI. I don't want to go very in deep on this, because I feel that you can analyze it specifically on the deck that will be available after the session. Okay, let's see another couple of good example. For example, this here, I have the line, okay, and I can see where the people that are in the queue maintain the distance. In the other example here, I see that the stalls inside the parking are automatically managed where the car are present or not, and I know which stalls are free and what not. This one is an example, for example, of for the security when I detect that a person is entering in an area that is not permitted to. And the last one is for the application in a manufacturing implant where some worker is analyzed if they wear the helmet, if they wear a jacket, if they are working inside an area too close to a dangerous machine, and I can automatically leverage some alarms if I found some of these parameters that is not satisfied. Okay, here you can find some resources that I talk about, and also something more. Then now I want to go to a demo of this device, because talking is okay, but we want also to have a hand on the device. So let's see. Let's start my demo from the Azure portal. From here, I have obviously all my usual service and deployment on Azure, but I have some other. In this case, I have to access Azure Percept Studio. I can click on here or just search it with Percept. Okay, click it, and I access Azure Percept Studio. Azure Percept Studio is, as we said, the main point where we can manage devices, but also start to work on new project, AI project. First of all, when you get a new developer kit, you have to join the device to your portal, to your Azure Percept Studio. Obviously, is a normal procedure, a normal wizard, and you step by step create and personalize your device and connect it to the cloud. I already do it for my devices, and here, if I click on devices, I see my two devices. I have two devices connected with my Percept Studio. One of that is connected, the other not. Is actually not visible. It could be is not necessarily is not connected or turned off. Actually, is turned off because I know, but usually could be not reachable from the cloud because I don't know, the connection, the local connection to internet for the device is turned off, for example. In this case, my actual device turned on is the Percept 1. If I click on it, I access to the dashboard of the device, where I can access all the characteristics. I can see what is running on the device. I can also follow what is actually going on the device. So here I can see some information of the device. I also see that actually is available on an update, and I can try to update it directly from the portal, or I will have to follow some specific procedure. In my case, I already know that for my device I have to follow a specific procedure, because I own a very old version of the developer kit, and I have to manually update it. But it's my problem, not yours, in case. But here I can also access the vision module, the hardware for the vision and for the speech, and for each of the device, I can also do some things, some specific things. In this case, for example, for the the vision device, if I click here and click on view stream, I already probably, yes, I already have it opened. I see here that, let me, this is my hand. I have the camera of the Percept developer kit is already turned on, and I have the stream. If I get some picture that I have printed on paper, in this case, because I don't, it's more easy for me to show it to the camera. If I get it, for example, this is a cup, and if I put it in front of the camera, the system say me delimitate the object and say, okay, it's a cup, and give me a number. You see the 0.88, 0.90. That is a percentage of assurance that is a cup in this case. And it's quietly sure that it is a cup in this case. This is a bicycle, okay, a 0.99, so it's more or less true. Or this one is a mouse, yes. Or let me check for with this is a very old Italian car, and is a car. To be clear, this picture is something that is not already inside the learning of the device. Is something that is out of the box, because I just turned on the device. I also, before of starting the session, I also updated the vision module, so it's the base version of the video module. So in this case, I only apply the AI to the basic. Let me try. The cat is not so okay. Cat, and also the cat is reachable. Yes, a bird. And probably this one is not very clear. Okay, airplane. Yeah, it's clear. Okay, that's very easy. In this way, I can recognize object out of the box without any intervention, any things to do. Okay. In the same way, I can also follow some different approach. For example, I can also use some different sample deployment project that is provided by the platform out of the box. In this case, I can deploy, for example, the product on shelf, vehicle detection, people detection, or the one that we already have on it is the general object detection. All these algorithm, all these images are pre-built on Azure, and we can deploy on our devices just to use it as it is. Okay. Obviously, we can also try to modify or give some more intelligence to this specific device and algorithm, just to do something more specific. In my case, I have started to do these things. I have gone to Azure Percept Studio, going to the project that I have on my Azure Percept Studio. I can create a new project. As you can see, I already created a my test Percept project. I have already done it because it takes some time, and I don't have enough time to show you all the process. But what this Percept project is again something that I could add, enter the name, enter a description, create or access a resource This resource is essentially a custom vision resource that we see in just a moment. From here, I have been transferred to the, as I said, in the custom vision project that I have, where I have uploaded some images. For example, in this case, I have added some images of coffee machine, different kind of coffee machines, and also laptops. Then what I have done, I have selected any specific image. I have selected an area and tagged the object that is inside this image. I have done it for all the images that I have provided. When I have done, I have started the operation of training, this green button. During the process of training, here in performance, I receive the percentage of completion. At the end of the training, I receive a result where I have a precision point about the recognition of the object. As you can see, for the laptop, the precision is 100% because the laptop is something that is already is an object that is already known by the vision module of Percept. Instead, the coffee machine is something that is not yet recognized out of the box. Okay, no problem. What I can do is, with only, in this case, I have learned only 15 images for the laptop and 15 for the coffee machines. I can start now a quick test where, sorry, sorry, not from here. I can start to deploy my new image to the device, and if I go to view the endpoint, okay, got it. Let me, come on. Okay, let me check for an image. So no, let me check for a new image, for example, for coffee machine. Okay, coffee machine image. Let me get, for example, yeah, sure, for sure, I have not trained this image. Let me get the URL, copy image link. Okay, enter image URL. Okay, great. Okay, and what is said is, for me, is a coffee machine with an affordability of 28.2%. Yes, is something that is not so affordable, I understand, but I only trained 15 images in this case. Well, just to be clear, what we are doing is not a matching image, okay? Is something that is related to the machine learning. The algorithm create a model to recognize the type of object that is a coffee machine, okay? I want to be very clear on that. Well, I think I am out of time. So return to my slides, and if there are some question you can ask, or you can send me on social, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, no problem. My Twitter ID is Marco Dalpino. And well, that's all. Thank you all, and look at this QR code, because this QR code is very useful for you to access the drawing for some prize. So let get this QR code very close to your I don't know device, and good luck. See you next time. Bye bye.